Hello there. Welcome back to this series. This is the 10th video in GRE Big Book Quant series. There are going to be 54 videos and we are slowly advancing towards that magic number of 54. The links to the previous 9 videos you will find in the description. So I recommend you go through all those videos. If you want, you can go through them in that particular order, but there is no particular need for you to do that. But it will just make it so easy for you to keep track of your progress. So go in that particular order and also solve these questions because that's where you're going to have some learning. Just don't watch these videos for the sake of watching. All right, so on that note, without wasting any more time, let's get started. All right, let's get going. As you can see, this is test 5, section 6, quant sections, 30 minutes, 30 questions. So let's get started. The first question, 2 by 3 raised to 2, 2 by 3 square. Okay, so I see that this 3 square term is the same at the bottom, that's in the denominator. So it's easier for me to keep the same denominator. Let me just expand this. So this is going to be 2 square by 3 square. And this is just going to be 2 by 3 square. Okay, so 2 square is going to be bigger than 2, right? Because 2 is a positive number. And less than one number also. Last time in one of the earlier videos we saw, a couple of earlier videos actually, we saw that if a number lies between 0 and 1, the square is actually smaller than that number. So x could be here, x square would be here. Okay, that's not the case here. These are positive numbers greater than 1, right? So this is going to be a big number divided by x. Again, that x is also positive, so no complications here, and this is going to be a small number divided by x, right? So when we have the same denominator, which number is bigger? The numerator, the number that has the bigger numerator is bigger, right? So here we are going to get answer. Okay. Now there is obviously another way of doing this. We could just simply solve this. So this would have become 4 by 9 and this would have become 2 by 9, right? Without getting into the logic that I just explained, but it's better to understand it both ways so that if there are any awkward numbers here in another question, similar question like this, you can still rely on the logic. But the answer is going to be answer choice A. Let's move to question 2. Okay, there is some scenario here. There are two diving boards at a certain pool. Okay, so let's say this is the water level, pool level. There are two diving boards, one here and one here. All right. The height of the lower board is 3 meters. Okay, height of the lower board is 3 meters. Fine. The height of the higher board, that is this board, is 1 meter greater than twice the height of the lower board. Okay, so twice the height of the lower board is going to be twice of 3, that's going to be 6 plus 1 meter greater. So 6 plus 1 is 7. So this is 7 meter. All right. Okay, always verify 1 greater than twice. Okay, so 1 greater than twice, correct. What do I have to compare? The height of the higher board minus the height of the lower board. Okay. So height of higher minus height of lower, that's 7 minus 3, that's going to be 4. And I have 4.5 here. Answer is going to be answer choice B. B is greater. Okay, question number 3. X is equal to 3, y is equal to minus 1 already. So I just have to plug in the numbers. Y minus x, so that is minus 1 minus 3, right? Minus 1 minus 3, that's going to be minus 4. And x into y square, so that is 3 into minus 1 square. So that is 3 into 1, that's going to be 3. Okay, answer choice B. Okay, let's look at question 4. The perimeter of square PQRS, PQRS, okay, that's a square. So let's say this is x, 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 x. Okay, and the perimeter of the shaded rectangular region. Okay, so this is a rectangular region. This is not a square, or may not be a square. Let's say this is AABB, the sides. Okay, we want to compare the perimeters. Okay, now a simple way to look at this is that, see, this all these sides, right, of the rectangle. Let's say A as opposed to x on this side, and B as opposed to x on this side. They are smaller than, as it is, as the figure is drawn, they are smaller than x. Okay, so basically I'm drawing, what I'm basically drawing, I'm drawing a rectangle with something smaller than x, with something smaller than x, something smaller than x, something smaller than x. So if I then add them up to get the perimeter, I'm going to get something smaller than 4x, which is the perimeter. Perimeter is here. Okay. A plus b plus a plus b. That's the perimeter here. So each of these things is smaller. So obviously this is also going to be smaller, right? So answer is going to be A. That's a very simple way to look at this, but there is one complication in this. Okay. Let's look at that complication. Let's say, so when I say x and b individually are smaller than this side, right? There is one exception. Let's say this is a square, right? Let's say I have this rectangle along this diagonal, okay, such that it is like this. Okay, in that case, my a is going to be very close to the diagonal. What is going to be this diagonal? Diagonal of the square is going to be root 2x, which is bigger than x. Okay, here I assumed that it is smaller than x, right? So in this extreme case, this is the biggest sort of a rectangle that you can draw, right? Assume that this height is negligible. I mean, b is negligible, almost zero, something very close to zero. Okay, in that case I can get a greater than x, right? But in that case b is zero, almost zero, right? So even in that case, what is the perimeter I'm going to get? I'm going to get this plus this, right, plus something like 0 plus 0. Okay, very very small numbers. So that is 2 root 2x. That's going to be what? 2 root 2x is going to be, root 2 is 1.4, right? So it's going to be something like a 2.8x. But the perimeter here remains 4x. And whatever this number would be, it's going to be a positive number. It's not going to be 0, right? This is going to be a very small number. It is not going to be able to fill the gap between this 2.x and 4x, right? That's not going to be the case. So again, answer is going to be even in the extreme case. But just by visually looking, this is a little tricky. I didn't expect this as the fourth question for GRE, because generally the fourth question is pretty straightforward. This sort of lends itself to an extreme scenario, but even in that case, answer choice is A. All right. Okay. If you couldn't think of that scenario, and if you just went with this visual representation, I think that is what is intended in this question, right? But then also you will be able to get answer as A. So that's fine. Question 5, a number between 5 and 10. Okay, it could be any number between 5 and 10, so not including 5 and 10. So let's say 5 between 5.1 and 9.9, a number between 8 and 14. So between 8, from 8.1 to say 13.9. How do we compare? I could take a number like a 13 and a number like a 9, in which case I'll get B as the answer. Or I could take a number like a 9 here, and I could take a number like an 8.5 here. Okay, they are not saying integers or anything, right? So in that case I'll get answer as A. So I cannot determine, answer choice is going to be answer choice D. Okay, let's look at question 6. 3 by 4 plus 1 by 3, and compare that with 1. Okay, so let's calculate this. Denominators are both different. Let's get them to 12 so that I can cross multiply. So what do I get here? I get 3 into 3, 9, plus 1 into 4, 4. So that is 13 by 12, which is greater than 1. So answer is going to be answer choice A. You could also do it decimal point wise. 3 by 4 is 0.75. 1 by 3 is 0.33. So you will see that this is bigger than 1. You could have done it that way also. Question 7, W and X I have to compare. What do I have here? Y less than Z less than X. Okay, let's take some number. 3 less than 4 less than 5. Okay, and Y less than W. Y is this. Okay, so 3 less than some W. Let's say 100. I'm taking an extreme number. Okay, can I compare W and X? So I have to compare these two. So 5 and 100. Sorry, W is 100, X is 5. I get answer as A. But I could have also had W as 4, right? 3 less than 4. In that case, I would have compared 4 and 5. I would have got answer as B. So I'm not able to decide anything. Answer choice D. It's better to do this question in a visual way. For example, let's say you draw a number line. You say this is Y, this is Z, and this is X. And for W, I have the whole range. Okay, so W could be lying anywhere on this sort of dotted path, right? So the W could be here, so W could be here. I can't really compare it with X. So that way I'll get answer as D. You could have done that also. Okay, let's look at question 8, X and 50. What do I have here? X is here, okay, uh, 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 and 50, all right. Okay, so one thing I notice here is that this is one line on which all angles should add up to 130. So this is 50, this is 50, so that's 100. So this angle has to be 80. Okay, this angle is 80. Now look at this triangle, right? So I get 80 plus 50 is 130. 130 plus x should again add up to 180 because this is a triangle. So x should be 50. X should be 50, right? So I get 50 and 50. Answer choice C. Okay, let's look at question 9. The number of minutes in 3.15 hours. Okay, so in 3 hours, I'm going to get 180 minutes, right? 60 into 3 plus 0.15 hours into 60 minutes per hour. Okay, so I'll have to do this. What is this? This is going to be 9 minutes, right? 0.15 into 6 is 9. So 189 minutes is what I get here. The number of minutes in 3 hours, 15 minutes. Okay, so 3 hours is 180 minutes, 15 minutes is 15, 195 is what I get. So 195, 189, answer choice B. Okay, I think the trick here is that some students might take 0.15 and 15 minutes as the same thing. That's essentially the trick here. But you don't want to do that mistake. Okay, question 10. Half 1 by 2x is equal to 1 by 3y is equal to 1 by 5z. Okay, and z is equal to 30. Okay, z is already given. So let's find out what is this. 1 by 5 z is going to be 30 by 5 is going to be 6 is equal to y by 3. So y by 3 is 6. Y by 3 is 6. That means if z is equal to 30, y is going to be 18, and x by 2 is also 6. That means x is going to be 12. Correct? Let me just verify. 12 by 2 is 6. 18 by 3 is also 6, and 30 by 5 is also 6. So this is making sense. This is making sense. So x plus y is going to be x plus y is going to be 30, and I have 30 here. So again, answer is going to be answer choice C. Okay, you could have also done it algebra wise without knowing that z is equal to 30. You could also done x plus y, right? So let's write it like this thing. Let's do it separately here on this side. So what do I have? I have x by 2 is equal to y by 3 is equal to z by 5. Okay, so x is equal to 2z by 5, correct? Plus y. I'm trying to calculate this. Y is equal to 3z, sorry, 3z by 5, right? That's what I will get as this term x plus y, which is going to be 5z by 5. So again, it's going to be z, right? So this would be z, and I know z is equal to 30. So answer choice B. Right? So you would anyway get the same answer, but there are just two different methods of doing this. Okay, let's move on. Question 11. Fields x and y. Okay, this is field x and y are to be enclosed with fencing that costs $24 per meter. Okay, so they need fence around this $24 per meter. The cost of fencing for x, the cost of fencing for y. Okay, so essentially they are asking us to compare the perimeter. Okay, I don't have to calculate the cost. Multiply that by 24, that will give you the cost, but I don't need to calculate that because all I have to compare is the perimeter. The rate is the same anyway, right? Okay. So what is the perimeter? I see that this side is the same, this side is also the same, so same thing. The only challenge here is on this side, right? So this is in a different shape. But I should also notice that if I extend this like this, let's say this was point P, right? I would have gotten this figure only. It's the same figure, just that there is, instead of covering this area, I am having this inside. That changes the area, of course, but it doesn't change the perimeter. Why? Because isn't it the same thing? Go from here, you go this side, and then turn this side. That total distance is the same as you go this side first, and then you go this side, right? So the perimeter, the boundary, length of the boundary is the same as in this case, right? So a parameters are going to be the same. The cost is also going to be the same. Answer choice C. If you didn't get this logic, you could have also done calculation this. They have given these dimensions. So this is going to be, this side is going to be what, 470 minus 290, correct? And this is going to be 470 minus 180, correct? So this is again going to be 470 minus 280 is going to be 180, and this is going to be 290. Okay, see, you will get, obviously uh, to add them up. So what you will essentially end up doing is 470 plus 470 for these two sides, and then for one side you will do 290 plus 180, and for the other side you will do 180 plus 290. Okay. Basically you're doing the same thing, 4 times 470, because both of these will come out to be 270 each, right? So without understanding the logic also, math wise you can do, but it's much easier because you'll not spend a lot of time doing that calculation. Okay, question 12, n is greater than 0, all right. N into n plus 1 plus n plus 1, n plus 1 square. Okay, easiest way is to simplify this. What do I get here? I get n square plus n plus 1. Okay, so this is n square plus n divided by n plus 1 square, right? On the top I get n square plus 2n plus 1. On the bottom also I get, if I expand this term, I get n square plus 2n plus 1. So essentially everything will cancel out because n is greater than 0, correct? So this is positive quantity, this is a positive quantity, this is a positive quantity. Positives by positives I can always cancel without the comparison changing, right? What I mean by that is, if I have 5 and 4, 5 greater than 4, right? If I divide by a positive number, 5 by 2 will remain as 4 greater than 4 by 2, because 2.5 is greater than 2. But if I do 5 by minus 2, right, and 4 by minus 2, the answers change, right? I'll get is 2, and the comparison sign changes, right? Here it's not going to change because these are all positive numbers, so is essentially going to remain the same. So what do I have here? I have 1 here and 1 here. Answer choice C. Straightforward. Okay. Question 13, the circle has center O, all right, so the center, and RT is equal to 5, RT is equal to 5, all right, RT is equal to 5. The circumference of the circle, okay, let's say the radius was R, the circumference of circle is going to be 2 pi R, okay, I don't know why the value of R, and here they are saying 10 pi, okay. So I have to compare 2 pi R with 10 pi, so I have to compare 2R with 10, okay. Uh, Basically I have to compare R with 5. Can I compare R with 5? The only information I have is RT is equal to 5, not RT pi. Okay, it is possible that radius is 5 actually, right? Everything is 5. So this is 5, this is also 5, this is also 5. That is possible. Or it could be a much larger circle wherein RT is just a small piece and this radius is, let's say, 10, 10, 10, 5. Okay, that's also possible, correct? Or it is also possible that it's a small circle, right? Uh, and this is a big angle, this is 5, and this is something like, let's say, 3 or 3. Okay, it can't be lower than 2.5 radius, because in that way RT will end up being the diagonal, right? So it can't be, that's sort of the maximum ultimate case, right? But it could be a bigger number than 2.5. Okay. But the point here is it could be a much bigger number also. We can't really compare it with 5. So that means we can't make this comparison. Answer choice is going to be D. Okay, let's look at question 14. X, Y, and Z are positive integers, all right? And this relationship holds. Z is greater than X greater than Y. Okay, so let's take some number of Z, 4, 3. This is Z, X, and Y. Okay. The remainder when Z is divided by X, Z is divided by X, remainder is 1. Okay. The remainder when Z is divided by Y, when Z is divided by Y, the remainder is 2. Okay, I get B as an answer. Correct? All right. But obviously that's going to change with different numbers, because uh, the remainder could be, let's say if I have 3 greater than 2 greater than 1. So this is Z, X, and Y. In that case, remainder with X divided by Z, X divided by, sorry, Z divided by X, Z divided by X is going to be 1. But remainder when Z divided by Y, Z divided by Y is going to be 0, because Y is 1, right, which will divide everything. So in that case, I'm going to get A as the answer. Okay, so I get B as an answer, I get A as an answer. Not really possible to compare. Answer choice D. It's a little tricky question. You need to understand that this remainder thing can be 0, and like I always keep saying, check for 0 situations, check for negative situations, like that. Okay, so if you check for that, you will get it. But to spot that the remainder could be 0, that's the trick. If you take any other numbers, let's say 100, 99, 97, okay, this is remainder is going to be 1, remainder is going to be 3, something like that. Okay. And you will sort of believe that always I'm getting B as the answer. That's not the case. There's this situation where the remainder could also be 0, where where the answer could be different. Okay, let's look at question 15. X and 90. Okay, so this is whether this is 90 degrees is what we have to decide. 11, 13, 5. Now this is again a very typical Pythagorean triangle, right? I always keep saying, if you watch the previous videos, know the Pythagorean triplets. See, the Pythagorean triplet is 5, 12, 13, right? What I mean by that is 5, 12, 13. If you take this, this is the right angle triangle. 5 square is 25, 12 square is 144. If you add them up, you get 169. You get the square of 13. Okay. So in a Pythagorean triangle, if this is 5 and this is 13, and let's say assume that this is 90 degrees, you get 12 at the other side. Okay. But now compare this triangle with this triangle, right? I'm getting 11. When will I get 11? So that means I'm getting this point. Okay. So I'm getting this point and this is still 13, correct? Basically what I'm getting is I'm having to shift this line a little to the left. That means I'll get something slightly, not so much, something a little bit like this. So this is going to be 5, this is going to be 13, this is going to be 11, because this is shorter, correct? If I have to make this shorter, this point shorter, I'll have to, and but this point, the ladder is the same. Let's assume these are two walls. There's a ladder. Okay. uh, I want to keep the same ladder, but I want a shorter wall, correct? So I'll have to tilt this wall a little bit, right? Open it up a little bit. That means this angle is going to be more than 90. So X is more than 90. Answer choice A. This requires a little bit of imagination. It's not a difficult question math wise, but if you do it visually, that element is essential for you to do this sort of comparison. Okay, let's look at this question. A certain machine fills a bag with 7 ounces of potato chips in 3.5 seconds. Okay, so 7 units of weight in 3.5 seconds. So that means it is doing 2 units of weight per second, correct? Right. you just have to multiply by a number of seconds. Correct? 3.5 into 2 is 7 ounces. All right. At this rate, how many seconds will it take for a machine to fill a bag with 15 ounces? So how long will it take for 15? It will take 7.5 seconds. Correct? The ratio has to be 2. So 7.5. Answer choice C. Question 17. On a number line, the distance between 2 points with coordinates -5 and 1. Okay, so -5 and 1, -5 is here, 0 is here, 1 is here. What is the distance? Distance is 5 units here and 1 unit here, so that distance is 6. 6 units is how much less than the distance between 2 points with coordinates 2 and 14. Okay, so 6 is how much less than 2 and 14. So how do we compare 2 and 14? So this is 2 and this is 14. What is the distance here? This distance is going to be 12 units. Correct? 14 minus 2, 12. So 6 is how much less than 12? 6 is 6 units less than 12. So that is answer choice A. Okay. Very easy, but you should be able to figure out this number line thing, which is also fairly straightforward. In the figure, x is equal to 4y. So this is x is equal to 4y. Okay, so let me write everything in y. X is equal to 4y. Then y is equal to what? Okay. So I see that this angle 30, opposite to that is going to be this angle. Correct? And then if I look at this line, on this line, what angles I have? I have this 4y as an angle. This 4y plus 30 plus y, that should add up to 180. Correct? So what do I get? I get 5y is equal to 150. Correct? This will become 5y. 30 will go here. It will get 150. Y is equal to 30. So choice A. Okay, let's look at question 19. If 45% of n is 405, okay, with percentages be very careful. Let's first write 45%. 45% of n is 405. Can calculate n from here. Then 35% of n is what? The 35% of n is going to be, okay, let's find out n first of all. N is equal to 405 into 100 divided by 45. Okay, don't get this number because we still have to do some more calculation. So 35% of that is going to be 35 divided by 100 into this quantity, that is this into this into this. Okay, so 100 will get cancelled. I have to calculate this. Okay, uh, this is going to be, if I divide by 5, I get 7 by 9, 405. So let's do 9, 7 by, let's do this first, right? So that's going to be 9 4s are 36. I get 4 5, I get 5. 45 9s are 405. That's correct. And I have to multiply that by 7 now. So I have to do 3 315. 315. Answer choice E. Okay. Now that I see this, I could have done it here also. Okay. This also would have given me the same answer. This was, it didn't occur to me. This is 405 by 45 is also 9. I would have got the same 9. Okay. But 315 is the answer. Okay. Let me get rid of some of these drawings. Okay. This is question number 20. In the triangle x is equal to what? Okay, so this is 2x, x plus 10 plus 50. They all have to add up to 180, so that's easy. X plus 10, okay, this is a different question. X plus 10 plus 2x plus 50 is equal to 180. That's basically 3x plus 60 is equal to 180. So that is 3x is equal to 120, x is equal to 40. That's answer choice B. Like I mentioned in the previous video also, question number 16 to 20 are probably the easiest lot. Okay, let's move on to the more difficult one, which is the graphs. Questions 21 to 25, family excess expenditures as a percent of gross annual income. Okay, for 2 years, 83, 84. So in 83, they spent 24% in mortgage property taxes insurance, mortgage property tax and insurance. Okay, whereas in 84 they spent 27%. Okay, but mind you, this is in percentages. Okay, does not mean that they spent more in 1984. It depends on what was the actual income in those years. These are percentages. Okay, same thing, food, utilities, blah blah blah. Okay, all right, and here they have given 100% was $50,000. In 84, 100% was $45,000. So these are the percentages and the absolute numbers are here. Okay. I think this is a fairly straightforward graph. Let's see if we have more graphs here. Okay, no more graph. All right. Anything else that I can see? Generally, the expenses are increasing as percentage, except here and here. Okay, here they remain the same. All right. Uh, but overall, the expenses, sorry, the income has dropped. Okay, fine. Let's look at the questions. In 1984, how many of the 7 categories listed were expenditures greater than 9% of gross annual income? In 1984, in how many categories the expenses were more than 9? Okay, so I have to look at only one graph. 1984 more than 9. 1984 is this. Always verify because sometimes you tend to do silly mistakes. 1984 more than 9. So 1984 more than 9. Yes, this is there. This is also there. Not here, not here. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Only 2 categories the expenses were less than 9% in 1984, right? These two. Rest everything was more than 9. 5 is should be the answer. Let's see. Answer choice D. Okay. Question 22. In 1983, family X used a total of 49% of his gross annual income for 2 categories. Okay, so for 2 categories now, uh, the total is 49%. Okay, what are those 2 categories? Can we figure out? 1983, if it is only 2 categories and they should add up to 49, they should be around 25. Okay, so let's see. There is one this and one. This is 24 and this is 25. Correct. These are the only two that add up to 49, right? Because these are small and there is nothing bigger than 30 ones. Okay, okay. Or there are. Let me still do it. This is 31. 31 would mean I need something 16. I don't have any 16 here. This is 3, so I will need 46. There's nothing 46. This we already looked at this. Okay, these are also again very small. I don't have big numbers. Uh, so that they will add up to 49. Okay, so these are the only 2 categories. What are those? Mortgage, property tax, insurance, and savings. Fine. So what do I have to do with that? So those are the 2 categories. I found those out. What was the total amount of excess income used for those same categories in 1984? Okay, what was the total amount of X in 1984 for the same categories? Okay, so first I'll have to get the percentage because this graph is in percentage. Okay, let's find out the percentage in 1984. Percentage in 1984 is going to be 27 plus what is this, 12. So it was 39%. 39% of what? Of 45,000. Right? Because they are asking, the answer choices are in dollars. Okay, so 39% of $45,000 is going to be what? Okay, this is in thousand and this is in percentages, so that's fine. Let's first get the numbers right. So this is going to be 5. It has to end in a 5. Okay, anyway, I see that there are 2 of them ending in 5. So anyway, let's do the math. Sometimes you'll have to do that. Okay, I'm not a fond of this. I like to solve questions logically, but yeah, there is no uh, solution here. But what I can do is I can just do the easier way is 45 into 40. That is easy, right? So 45 into 40 would be 1800, right? And then I'll subtract 45 from here so that I get 39 into 40, right? So here okay, 1755. Okay, 1755, and then this is 1000. That is 3 zeros, and this is 2 less zeros. That means one more zero essentially. So 17,550. 17,550. You can do the math and you will get it. Okay, let's look at question 23. From 1983 to 84, the increase in excess miscellaneous expenses was most nearly what in absolute number. Okay, so I'll have to look at miscellaneous expenses in these 2 years. Let's look at that. Miscellaneous, where is miscellaneous? Okay, miscellaneous is here. So this was 3%, this was 10%, right? This is 10%, this point. Okay, so 3% of 1983, that is 50,000. That's going to be 1% is going to be 500, so 3% is going to be 1500, and 10% of 45k was is going to be 4500. So the amount went up by 3000. Okay, in absolute terms it went up by 3000. That's answer choice A. Okay, question 24. Family X's gross income is the sum of Mr. X's income and Mrs. X's income. Okay, so husband wife, uh, that is the sum, gross income. All right. In 1983, Mr. and Mrs. X each had an income of $25,000. So let's say 83, uh, Mr. X and Mrs. X. Okay, let's call them husband and wife for simplicity. Okay, so husband was 25, wife was also 25. The total is how much? Must be 50. Yes, was 50. Okay. Uh, if X's income, Mr. X's income increased by 10% from 83 to 84, so now this become 27.5, right? What percentage X's income decrease, Mrs. X's income decrease in the same period? Okay. Uh, what was this total in 1984? The total in 1984 was $45,000, right? Uh, so this number is $45,000 minus 27.5. Correct. So this number will have to be, it's going to be something like 17.5. Is that correct? All right. So this number is going to be 17.5. Okay. So there is a decrease. Let's just verify 17 plus 27 is going to be correct, 44, and this 0.5 is 1. Correct. So this number is correct. So what do we have to calculate? I have to calculate by what percent it decreased. Okay, so it decreased by how much? From 25 it went to, so essentially what they're asking is from 25 it went down from 17.5, it went down to 17.5. That means it went down by how much? It went down by 7.5. And what is that percent? It goes down by 7.5 on the base of 25, which is going to be 30%. Correct. If you multiply both by 4, you get 30 on the top and 30 on the bottom. So 30%. So answer is going to be 30%. This is a little calculation intensive. Also, Mr. X, Mrs. X, you'll have to come up with this table. Quite some calculation here. Question 25. By approximately what percent did the amount that X put into savings decrease from 83 to 82? Okay. So saving decrease by what? This is something very similar to this, just that they are asking for percentages. Okay. So this is absolute, but let's first get everything in absolutes. Savings decrease in, okay, so savings, earlier the saving was what, 25%, later the saving was 12%. Okay, is that correct? Right. Okay. So again 25% of 50,000 is equal to 12.5k, right? And 12% of 45,000 is equal to, again we'll have to do this calculation now. So 10% is going to be 4.5k, divide that by 5, so that's going to be 9.5. So this is 2%, this is going to be 5.4 thousand. Okay, so that decrease was how much? That decrease was 12.5 to 5.4 it goes. Let's do 12.5 by 0.5 by 4, so the decrease is 7.1. 7.1 on the base of 12.5, that much percent. Again I multiply by 8, I get 56 on top, 56 point something, and this I get 100. Okay, so something like a 56.8, right? Or rounded off to 56, 57. That's the answer, 57%. Okay, there's another kind of a shortcut way to do this question. Uh, so see, look at this number. This number is like really decreasing, less than 50%. Correct? This number, I'm only talking about the percentage. The percentage itself has reduced by more than 50%. And the base has also reduced a little bit by about 10%. So the answer choice has to be more than 50%. Correct. This is more than 50%. 25, 50% of that would have been 12.5. Okay. Right. And the base has also decreased. Correct. So smaller base, smaller savings, even smaller number than what I had expected with respect to this. Okay. So number has to be more than 50%. There's only one answer choice that's more than 50%. Okay. Obviously, this kind of a thing is don't rely too much on that, because sometimes you tend to put the wrong logic, or also 45% is also very close to 50%. So don't solely rely on that. You just do the math. But I just occurred to me by looking at the answer choices after I found out 57 that that logic would have also worked. Right. So as we keep on seeing, there are multiple ways of getting to the same answer. If you have time, I always recommend that you verify with both methods. Okay, let's look at question 26. Of the following, which is greatest? All right, which is greatest? The first answer choice is A. So let me compare everything with this answer choice only, 0.5. Okay, I want greatest, so I'll ignore all answer choices that are less than 0.5. Okay, so this is less than 0.5, because if it was to be 5.5, I would have wanted it to be 7.5. Okay, so this is less than 0.5 out. This is also less than 0.5, because 0.5 would have been 50 by 100. This is less than that. This is a little more than 0.5. Okay, so I'll keep this. This is less than 0.5 again, so this is out. Yeah, so essentially I'm comparing half and 126 by 250. Basically, I'm comparing 125 by 250 and 126 by 250, right? So answer choice D is going to be the correct answer. Okay. It would have been significantly, not significantly, but it would have been slightly tricky if the answer choices were shuffled, right? And then I would not have got this as a base. But they have done a good job by keeping this as answer choice A, so that it acts as a trigger. Okay. Question 26. If x, y, z are consecutive positive integers, let's say 1, 2, 3, with x less than y less than z, so this will work. Okay. X less than y less than z, and x plus y plus z is an even number. Okay, even number. I am getting an even number here, right? Okay, but essentially the logic is, if these are consecutive, it can only be even, odd, even, right? But that sequence will not work. Why? Because then I'll get sum as odd. This doesn't work. It has to be odd, odd, even, odd. Then only I'll get even as the sum. Okay, so any odd, even, odd, we happen to start with 1, 2, 3, but 2, 3, 4 will not work. Something like a 3, 4, 5 will also work. Okay, that's basically the point. Okay, which of the following could be the value of z? So z has to be an odd number. That much I know. Z has to be an odd number, right? So let's see. It can be 1. It can't be this. It can't be this. It can be this. It can't be this. How am I getting two numbers? Okay, all right, interesting. Now this is odd, but this can't be there, because then these are three consecutive positive numbers, right? So they will have to start from 1 to 3. The least number has to be 3. It can't be -1, 0 and 1. Okay, so 1 cannot be this third number. Okay, interesting. So this is also not possible, right? So there were two logics here. Basically, one logic gives me 1 and 5. The other logic gives me only 5. So D is the only answer choice that's possible. Okay. Interesting question. Question 28. If x square is equal to 68, okay, if x square is 68, what can I say? 8 square is 64, right? So it will have to be 8 point something. 8 point something. 9 square is 81, so it has to lie between 8 and 9. But it could be positive or it could negative. It could also be negative. So let's say it is something like 8.1 positive or minus 8.1, something like that. Okay, whichever following could be true. Can it lie between minus 8 and minus 9? Yes, because minus 8.1 will lie between minus 8 and minus 9, right? So this is true. Okay, I think this is going to be the answer, but let's see, eliminate the other answer choices also. Can it lie between minus 8 and minus 7? No, it cannot lie here. Okay, minus 8 minus 7 basically would mean that it is minus 7 point something. No, it is minus 8 point something. So this is out. Can it lie between minus 8 and 8? No, because it will have to be either 8.1 uh, or minus 8.1, right? So minus 8 to 8 is like this, whereas our number is lying somewhere outside of 8 or somewhere outside of minus 8. Okay, so this doesn't work. 7 8, no. 7 less than x less than 8 basically means this number is lying between 7 and 8. No, the number is lying actually between 8 and 9, so this is out. 9 10, this number is like, this says that the number would lie between 9 and 10. No, this number actually lies between 8 and 9, so this is also out. Answer has to be answer choice A. Okay, question 29. In the figure above asks PR. What is PR? Okay, this PR and QS, and this QS are semicircles with centers at Q. Okay, so this is a semicircle center at Q. So that means if this is X, this is X for this circle. All right, and if this is X, this also has to be X, because this point is also made a point of this semicircle. Okay, so it's essentially like this: X, then X, then X, semicircle, semicircle. Okay, if PQ is equal to 5, so this is 5 5 5, that's what they are saying. PQ is equal to 5, this is 5. Then the perimeter of the shaded region is what? The perimeter of the shaded region is going to be this semicircle perimeter plus this semicircle perimeter plus 5 plus 5, correct? So this circle perimeter, this semicircle perimeter. But if you look at this semicircle perimeter plus this semicircle perimeter would be the same as this whole circle's perimeter, right? With the same radius, because these are both semicircles. Two semicircles is one circle. So basically, I am saying 2 pi r plus this 5 plus r 5, and r is equal to 5. So basically, 2 pi 5 plus 10, 10 pi plus 10, 10 pi plus 10. Sorry, it will be 10 pi plus 10. Okay, 10 pi plus 10 is answer choice C. All right, the last question, question 30. If $4,500 was invested in a bond fund when the price per share was $9. Okay, so 4,500 I put, how many shares did I get? The price per share was $9. So I got how many shares? I got 500 shares. Correct? 500 into 9 is 4,500. Okay, I got 500 shares. And $3,000 was invested in a fund, in the fund when the price was $10. Okay, so 3,000 I put when the price was $10. I got 300 shares at that time. 300 into 10 is 3,000. So total I've got 800 shares. All right. What was the average arithmetic mean per share purchased? So 800 shares divided by what is the total cost? 7,500. 7,500. Correct? Okay. So cross 75 by 8. That's going to be 9 point. So how much do I have left after 72? So I have 30 left. So that's going to be 3. I have 60 left. So that's going to be 7. I have 40 left. That's going to be 5. 9.375. 9.375. The choice D. All right. So that was this set. I found this to be a little calculation intensive than other sets, but in terms of difficulty and everything, I think it was just about the same. Most of the big book GRE Quant sections are about the same level in difficulty, barring maybe a couple of questions that are quite rare, not so much in terms of difficulty, but in terms of the way they are asking the question, and the phrasing and the scenarios and things like that. So as you have you may have noticed, no, whenever I'm encountering those kind of questions, I'm just making a note while I'm explaining that no, this seems to be rare or this seems to be interesting, something appropriate like that. Okay. But in terms of difficulty, they are generally in the same category. Also, one thing that I commented in this video was that question number 16 to 20 seem to be the easiest set of 5 questions. That again, and I felt in several other sections also, but this time no, I just made a note of that. So we'll keep a track of that as we go forward, whether that's indeed the case. Like I said, this is just we have completed test 5. There are 27 tests. So there is we have just completed about 20% of the work, less than 20% actually, right? So there's a lot for us to even learn with respect to how these questions are framed and everything. But all in all, I think this is a great practice material. Hope you're solving this as I keep mentioning, and happy GRE preparation.